right. Gump report, baby. We got 2 Gump reports. I'm doing one now, and if everything goes well, which I do believe I can do, you're getting a second one. But I'm going to be honest here about both Gump reports. They actually can make you a bit upset and can piss you off at the same time. I botched right there because I'm already pissed off. Let's go for the first Gump report. Will be about Gail Kim and Saraya. I have spoken about Saraya, and let's talk about her first. I have spoken about Saraya already. We already know, if you don't know, Saraya is no longer with AEW. She has been fired. She had already left the company at least a couple of weeks to at least a month or 2 ahead of time. I don't remember what the article exactly said when she left, but she was not there, and then they just fired her. Now, she did leave a message saying that this is not over. I'm happy. Generally, the basic PR, what any wrestler would do if they want to try and not burn bridges. But let's make it very clear. What did they do with Saraya? Oh my gosh. I don't know if I said this when she appeared, but I might have, because I remember Alex was so excited that she showed up. Just like Ruby Soho. Just like JD, he was excited, saying that this is going to be a change in the women's division because they need something. I don't remember if I said it or not, but I do remember when Mercedes Moné showed up. I said, I don't know if this is going to be good, because the way they've been booking their women, I don't think it's going to make a difference. I don't remember if I did that with Saraya. If you guys remember, you can say it below. But I'm saying this now. Since she showed up after Ruby Soho, I believe it was Ruby Soho who showed up first, the very first one. Nothing changed in the women's division. Nothing. And that pisses my ass off beyond no end. Everyone had such high expectations for the former Paige of WWE. They thought that everything was going to get great because of her. But then we wonder what happened. There was very little story that was with her until she turned heel. Then she started working with Jamie Hayter. Then she started working with who is now the greatest women's wrestler that is in AEW at this time. And that's my tasteless Toni Storm, which is timeless. Everyone else calls it timeless. I call it tasteless because she is so tasteless. She is like an old 1950s, 60s actress who basically looks so great with stardom like this, and she's nothing but a damn pain in the ass and trash. But that's what makes it so damn good. That is what tasteless Toni Storm is to me. But even though she did bring Jamie Hayter out to a certain extent, which now has led nowhere, and Toni Storm has gone from being like this, come in, go down like this, and then rose and she's here, what has Saraya done for herself? Hell, her own brother eventually showed up in AEW, was working with her on either ROH TV or Rampage. I didn't see on Collision. I didn't see him on Collision. It was mainly Rampage they showed up. But the point is, nothing happened. Either Toni didn't know what to do with her, or she wasn't even that interested. It's been always a very strange speculation when it comes to rumors with Paige. Because in some cases, she just disappeared. She might have gotten hurt at one point. Or they just kept off TV for some apparent reason. There was never really any information about it. So either it was her, or it was Toni in creative, which is more like Toni. She had nothing. Nothing. And now she's gone from the company when there's only one true match. I always, and I've said this ad nauseum, over and over and over and over again. Paige versus Mercedes Moné. Look at the history they have. The last match Paige had, the Saraya, was working in a tag match against Sasha Banks. Sasha gives her a kick in the back. She didn't mean to hurt her, but the minute she got kicked in the back, she lost total feeling in her total body. She was wiggling her arms trying to get feeling back in her body. And after that, she was done. She could no longer wrestle. She became a manager at one point. She became the general manager, I believe, of Raw at one point. And then she went to AEW after that. Guys, there's only one story that made the most sense, and that would have been Mercedes versus Saraya. Mercedes and her finally meeting after so many years. There's never been any talk or anything. They could have done a segment. Look, this is a Booking the Wrestler right now. I'm doing it right now. Booking the Wrestler. If anybody ever remembers that series I used to do, I would book some wrestlers. Here's what it comes down to. AEW. Within the first 6 months after she shows up, finally they have a segment in the back with Mercedes, who has come back, well, let's say a year, because let's say she did get hurt, but she did recover because of her ankle, and after she comes back, wins the TBS championship, the very first person she meets, when she comes back, she's in the back doing an interview, Saraya walks right up to her, and they're looking at each other. Paige looks at her and says, "Hi, Mercedes." And Mercedes says, "Hi." And it's an awkward type of moment. And then Saraya walks away. And you look at Mercedes like, "I gotta go." And she walks away. We get this for almost a month where you see Paige I keep saying Paige. You see Saraya coming out of nowhere, and she's not far away from Mercedes, and Mercedes sees her, and she goes like that, and she just going like this, and she walks away, and Mercedes is just awkward. She's not like angry, she's not mad, she's awkward, and finally we get one person coming to her. Let's say it's Athena. She says, "Mercedes, why are you acting weird around Saraya?" And she says, I don't know how to feel, because remember, I'm the one who put her out. I didn't want to hurt her. I gave her a drop kick to the back, and the next thing you know, was it the drop kick? I gave her a drop kick. She hit herself on the turnbuckle, and then she couldn't function anymore. Every time when I look at her, I feel like I ended her career and her life, and you know what her life went through. They throw a little bit of realism into it. And I just felt like I interfered and damaged her life, what she went through. All the things she happened was mostly stemmed off what I did. I don't even know how to feel around her. And it's Athena who tells her, put her hand on her and said, "Look, girl, me and you know each other for a while. And you know I will tell you the truth. And the truth is, stop acting like a bitch. Face it. Go in front of her and say sorry." I mean, it wasn't like you didn't apologize before, but now you're both working again. Just do it. So she does. She eventually catches Saraya when she was a Jamie. No Toni Storm. She's gone at this time. She has now was beginning to turn into timeless Toni Storm. And she faces her. And she says, "Hi, Mercedes." And Mercedes says, "Saraya, I want to talk to you for a moment." And she says, I know you want to talk to me, and I know you've been feeling awkward." And she said simply, "Look, after what happened years ago, I know I didn't mean it on purpose, what happened. And she just stops her. She hugs her. And she looks at her and tells her, "Honey, what was going on back then wasn't just you. I had a messed up life. My life is better now. I wasn't angry at you for putting me out. I was angry at myself because of all the things that was going on just before you put me out. And thanks to you, that kind of helped. I'm with a good man right now. The guy who she now is not with right now, but at the time. But my life is better because of it. I'm not mad at you. Honestly, I'm not." And being the actress that she is, Mercedes, starts to cry. And I know people say, "Dude, why are you going to make her cry?" Why not? It is a real life situation where Mercedes gave her a drop kick. She goes into a turnbuckle and she lost all feeling in her body, legitimately. So this makes perfect sense for the story. And from there, they would start tagging together. They would work together. And you could say at this time, and maybe having the TBS title might not be the wisest time, and wisest thing at that time. Maybe a little later, maybe about a year later, she does win it. And it doesn't have to be friend to friend when Mercedes is going up against Saraya. In fact, you could say Saraya could win the TBS title, and Mercedes wants to get that title. And you could say after they were together for almost a year, Mercedes turns on Saraya and saying, I've been kind in all this, but you've been using my kindness. Screw you, bitch. I'm not being nice to you anymore. And then they have the feud, and then you could have the TBS title on the line between the two. That would have been something special, because they could have become friends. Either Mercedes or Saraya turned on the other, wants the TBS title, and the real life story would have been done. That would have been great. But no, we didn't even get a taste of that shit. And right now, we got Mercedes Moné, who has 4 freaking titles that mean nothing in the company. 4. The only person Toni Storm has now, other than Megan Bayne that she could go up against, is Mercedes Moné. And guess what? They're probably not even going to be dealing with each other until maybe Mercedes drops the TBS title. And then maybe she'll be allowed to move into the world title, which is dumb. This is my feeling. This is a lost opportunity by Tony Khan and the company. Now, I will say, just in case, because I'm sure people would say maybe they didn't want to do it. Now, if that is the truth, that Mercedes was approached by either Saraya or Tony Khan or vice versa, said, we can do a story. We can do your real life story where you got your neck got messed up because of what happened in the ring. If Mercedes or Saraya says, look, I don't feel comfortable doing that story. I don't. If either one of them said it, fine. I will not be mad about that. If either one of them said, I just didn't want to go there with that type of storyline because it was way too close to life. And it does bring up a lot of old memories for Saraya or Mercedes. They just don't feel right about it. Fine. Now, let's move on to Gail Kim. Okay, let's make this clear, guys. Gail is synonymous with TNA. Synonymous with WWE. Synonymous with Impact Wrestling. She is synonymous with both companies and the rebranding of one company. And now she's gone. There's been no explanation why she's gone, but she's gone. And let's make this very clear. It surprised a lot of people that Gail Kim, of all people, was just released from TNA. She had not been, and I've seen anything on the sites where she had not caused any trouble. She had been productive for the Knockouts division. Most of the stories, not all, but most of the stories she was involved in trying to get them to work. She has been a very strong force in the Knockouts division of TNA. Impact Wrestling. And now she's gone. She didn't want to leave. They kicked her out. Why would you get rid of one of the most synonymous women there who has been helping the company, and most storylines that has been put out there has been pretty good? This makes no sense other than one. And I made this very clear a while ago when Scott was released. And I know there's a video about Scott talking about what happened with Tessa Blanchard. I've not seen that yet. If I can do another Gump report other than the one I'm going to do next, I will see about that one with Scott D'Amore talking about Tessa Blanchard. But if you see the situation with Gail Kim, it makes no sense for her to be released. Other than someone decided they wanted to clean house of anyone that was involved with Impact Wrestling. Flat out. It doesn't make a difference if we're a pain in the ass or not. They just want to get rid of them because they want to have things their way. Because let's make this very clear. We already know this. Even though Scott D'Amore did not say this directly, it is obvious. Scott wanted to do something different than what the CEO of Anthem wanted. And he was replaced. Flat out, it doesn't make a difference if he was paid or not. He was released. It doesn't make a difference if you agree with most of his booking. I didn't agree with all his booking. Some of his booking was good. Some of his booking was trash. Sometimes they had something good in between. That's how it's been. He's not been perfect. He's a good promoter. He's got a good mind for the business. He's never hit a home run every time. I'm making it clear. But he did manage to get TNA back to where it could change its name back and mean something. He's the one that got things straightened out with WWE before it became TKO WWE to do what happened at Royal Rumble. And he probably was instrumental in some, not all, or maybe all of it, but I'll say some, because I don't know if it's true, if he did agree to all of the things that WWE wanted to do to have this collaboration before he was removed. But he probably was a part of it. But Anthem didn't want him there because they wanted to do it their way, and didn't make a difference if someone who's been in the business, who understands it, may not always be good, but at least out of 100%, maybe he's good at 60% or 70% of the time, getting things good, working well, but they didn't want it. Now we get it again. But now we get it with Gail Kim. Gail Kim, who has always been a driving force in the Knockouts division, where, yes, it's not always perfect, and yes, maybe some of the stuff she came up with, easily, was probably trash. But the Knockouts division has always been pretty good and pretty well booked with her there. It's not always been great, but I will say at least 70% of the time, a lot of it, she probably was involved in it, and now they got rid of her. Why? We now have, from what I remember, 3 executives coming in. 3. A new president and 2 other people who have been in networks. And understanding, as somebody says, dude, you're forgetting about and I'm saying this again, the guy who took over TNA, it was not announced that he was an interim president. It was not announced at first. It was announced later in the year. Not in the beginning, not in the middle. If anybody says it was not. I looked at over 22 sites. They said he was the new president, not the interim president. So if you try to say that he was interim president, they made that decision later in the year. Not in the beginning and not in the middle when he first started. So that's bullshit. So don't try that with me. I looked. It never in any articles across 22 sites I went to ever said he was interim. Never. Not even Dave Meltzer ever said he was an interim president. Not until the end when he was released did they say that he was an interim. So don't play that with me. Don't. So he was gone after 11 months. Not even a whole year was he there. Now they replaced him again with another network guy, and 2, that makes 3 network people. 1 woman, 2 men. And one of them used to be part of ROH, which is good. He used to be a producer. Great. But you still have one who is part of sports and have worked in network for sports networks. The other one the same way. 20 or 30 years in the business. Does that mean, and I say it again, does that mean they know how to run a fucking wrestling promotion? Which is not even a promotion, a satellite company that's posing as a wrestling promotion. Just like TKO WWE, like I tell you, over and over again, TKO WWE is a satellite company from a corporation that used to be a promotion. It is not acting like a promotion anymore. It is more about advertisement and making money more than it is making wrestling. Same thing with TNA. The reason Scott was removed was due to the fact he wanted to make it still a very strong promotion. Now, did he do well in trying to make it a strong promotion? No. And I'm making it very clear, he didn't do it all right. I complain constantly about production. I complain constantly that some storylines just didn't make any damn sense. Others were good, and a few were great, but in general, he was not hitting it on all cylinders. You can say maybe 2/3 of the time he got it okay. 2/3. 1/3 sucked. But at least he did make it good enough that it became profitable. Now we get rid of Gail Kim, who is a woman's icon and is synonymous with TNA. And now she's gone without any explanation. Yes, it's reputable. They're parting ways friendly, of course. She could be called back. And maybe she will be, because whoever they get to replace on creative that might be a woman probably will not know anything about wrestling unless it's another wrestler that might be from maybe ROH, maybe originally from WWE, maybe who could be formerly from AEW for that matter, because they have been releasing people. You never know. Hell, even NWA, you never know. But I'm telling you this. This ain't right. I'm telling you now. We already know a few more people have been released over the time. We know Josh Matthews is no longer there. I just do not believe that this is going to end. And this company is going to start changing into something that maybe it might be better. I won't say it won't, because maybe getting rid of Gail and a few other people who are part of TNA, maybe it might get better, maybe. Or we may just do a 180 and may just go worse than we were when we were Impact Wrestling. Now, of course, we still have the arrangement with WWE. We still don't know how long it is. We don't know. It could be a couple of years. We don't know. But as long as they're working with WWE where they can get fresh meat, and I made it very clear about this, TKO NXT is getting fresh meat when it comes to TNA. They're getting wrestlers they normally wouldn't get. Hell, you got Moose. Moose went over there and challenged the NXT champion. We do not know how long this is going to go, because right now, TNA is getting fresh meat also. They are getting people from the Performance Center and their main roster. Well, no, not the Performance Center. They are getting from the main roster of NXT. So they are getting some people going back and forth, which really does help the company because they're so damn cheap. Ergo, they're making people take a damn pay cut. And if anybody says they're not, they are. It makes it easier for them not to have to spend any money on any outside talent, because now they're getting NXT people coming in. They don't even have to spend money on talent. They just get it sent over from the arrangement, and they're getting paid by NXT. So they don't have to worry about it. So in a sense, that's great for them because they can save a little bit of this, and that's all they care about, particularly when they shouldn't be, and again, wanting a fucking pay cut. When it shouldn't be. But I'm saying this, honestly. I'm not against TNA trying to save money and trying to reorganize themselves. This could actually be a good thing for them. I don't know. I'm telling you right now, I don't know. But if it isn't, know that I warned you ahead of time that we do not know. And please be mindful and wait and see how the company changes. But this is just me, and I hope you enjoyed this Gump Report. Please give me a comment below. I should have the next one right now. Well, technically, I am going to make the next video right now. Peace.